Now, the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Ambassador Umar Ilyas Damagum, has come under fresh pressure from stakeholders of the party who want him out. Now, this time, they hope to seal his fate not later than February 2025. Now, the PDP Governors Forum, the party's Board of Trustees, and also National Assembly Caucus, former Governors Forum, former Ministers Forum, and also the National Working Committee yesterday met in Jos, the Plateau State capital, where they directed the, of course, Damagum-led NWC to call the much postponed meeting of the National Executive Council by the first week of February. Well, a lot is happening within the People's Democratic Party, but to discuss this and more, we have on the program tonight, Segun Shomi is a chieftain within the People's Democratic Party. Thank you for your time, Mr. Segun Shomi.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, guys.
Good evening. It's great to have you again on Politics HQ. Now, let me take you on swiftly on this. Recently, in an interview, you actually said something around the former governor of Rivers State, who is now the current FCT minister, where you said that if you had the opportunity, you would freeze his membership status. You actually likened what you would do to him to what universities do to lecturers on sabbatical. Permit me to read part of what you said in that interview. Part of the things you said is, when you are on sabbatical, your membership is frozen. And when you return, it's activated. By freezing his membership, that means you can't be in charge of the party structure, either in Rivers or anywhere. You cannot attend any meetings. And if you return, we are going to give you 3 months for debriefing, so that you can dump all the jargon you learned from them. End of quote. I'd like you to speak more on that.
Well, thank you very much. You should notice that Easter weekend, the former governor of Rivers State and now Minister of FCT, has been a recurring decimal in the conversation around PDP. He has occurred so frequently that you almost even get the impression that perhaps they are victimizing him by calling his name exclusively. And I had said, well, the circumstances under which we found ourselves when he wanted to go work for APC government of Parliament group, that had those in charge of the party been creative and futuristic and forward-thinking, they ought to have told him what working in APC and being in PDP would translate to. And in my very well considered opinion, I thought that the best thing they could have offered him is that, look, if you must go and work for them, then while you are still there, we are going to freeze your membership. By freeze of membership, that means we're not expelling you, we're not suspending you, but you can't participate in the PDP for now. And I tried to go further by saying, what would that freeze really mean? Less we're just talking about, playing with words. I said it would mean you can't attend our meetings, you can't hold our party structures pending the time that you come back, because you can't serve two masters, really. And if you came back, because our attitude and our culture of politics is different from that of the APC, you might have learned some things from them which may not be the kind of thing that we tolerate in PDP. For instance, in their APC, they hardly have meeting. One person backs another and everybody rolls on the ground. In our PDP, we have conversations, and we build consensus around decision. So I then said we would have even given him 3 months of debriefing before he's integrated back with all his full privileges. That would have given them something to negotiate with, and that would have given him something to consider.
Because my next
situation where it seems to be that they tactically gave him approval to go join the party, and a great number of their members now are blaming him for things that I think are a little bit even ridiculous.
I mean, my next question would have just been, do you consider what the current FCT minister is doing within the party as some form of anti-party activity?
No. I think that he's getting accused of too many things. Some of the things you accuse him of, you will struggle to substantiate it. I mean, if you say he's the one interfering with the NWC, that doesn't make sense. How? Are they kids? Do they not know what the party rules are? Do they not know what the constitution is? Do they not know what is expected of them? So perhaps we're just blaming, we're looking for a victim. If you say he's the one that is doing what? Not allowing the governors forum to work in synergy and together to solve problems, I don't understand. But, I have accepted that his name has been reoccurring a lot. And I've accepted that a lot of rumor, innuendos, almost everything is being blamed on him. And I have taken a position that I think is the most convenient way to deal with such problems. Remember that this is not, it doesn't occur frequently. This is one of maybe the second or third time we've had it in our political history. And it happened during the Obasanjo and Chibola in your blessed memory, but the characters and the situations were completely different. This is a little bit hard because in one breath, we have a PDP governor in Rivers State that almost all the challenges there is being put on Governor Wike. Then you have the PDP itself as the mother party, all their inabilities and their own inability, their own lack of grit, lack of energy, lack of creativity, and lack of desire to provide leadership of the governors forum. Rather than blame them, you blame this on Wike. Then there's also the issue of the NWC themselves. I tried very hard to see where anybody will show me a smoking gun of evidence to suggest that they can concretely show where he has interfered with them. But in politics, rumors, those gossip, blackmail, and all of that are on the table. But from talking about and from going around, I find out that the great number of the Nigerian citizens have believed that there ought to be some form of, action to demonstrate that the party is not weaker than Governor Wike. Former Governor Wike, beg your pardon. And part of my suggestion when I was asked if I had been the national chairman, what would I have done is what I have said, and I really mean that. No man can serve two masters at the same time. It gets more complicated when some of his friends are saying they are already sold to the APC in 2027. It gets more complicated when he himself seems to enjoy, some popular appeal and appreciation within that party.
Shagun, Mr. Shomi, permit me to, of course, come in here. I would just want to ask, what exactly do you think is going on within the PDP? Because it appears that even at the leadership level, there seems to be some sort of crisis. It appears factionalized. And for many onlookers, particularly those that are monitoring the political atmosphere, it seems like the PDP is gradually, permit me to use the word, fading into oblivion as an opposition, because we are beginning to see many members. It's almost impossible to tell if the ruling party, which is the APC, and the PDP, can be demarcated. They seem to be twins or peas in a pod. So my question to you is this. What is going on within the People's Democratic Party? Is your party still an opposition or an extension of the ruling party?
Thank you very much. I think that there's a bit of exaggeration of the problem, to be fair. The PDP as a political party, since the loss of the last election, has done congresses in local governments, congresses in wards, and congresses in a lot of states. By a few other ones that maybe were a little bit contentious, Kogi, Ahia, Benue, I don't have all the figures, are contentious, but the majority of the congresses have been done. Those are very difficult things to do. The PDP has done primaries in Kogi, Imo, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo and Ondo, and all our primaries have been spot on, well done, no too much issues. What I think is bringing this, perception that is being fed by people, some of them members of the party, is that they have the assumption that a political party must meet all of their own wishes and aspirations exclusively. And that, in my opinion, is not how a political party should be. But when their voices are very loud and the opinions they push is also very strong, you have to listen to them, because I believe that all sides must be heard. And then you look for what is the easiest thing that you can agree with that can be done. And in my opinion, the easiest thing to agree with is that truly it is difficult to say Governor Wike, former Governor Wike, would be in the APC and in the PDP at the same time. If he was in PDP, there will be no conversation. He'll be allowed to scheme and do whatever he has to do as a full grown-up PDP party member. But because there is suspicion that some of his actions and some of his activities may undermine the party in such a way that it gives undue advantage to the people he's serving now, that is why the justification for prison of the membership is. But again, it's already an academic exercise. Those who should have given him those rules at the beginning did not do that. I don't think the PDP is fading away. I think that what I want to tell the Nigerian citizens is that political parties, especially the ones that are democratic, not a conglomerate of, if you like, zombies and other parties who don't have escorts, who don't have any real contest for space. PDP is not like that. And so I think that for us, we have accepted that from the history and the way things have operated, the party comes under a lot of stress twice. Once they are trying to set up the National Working Committee, that is the executives at the local government, at the wards, and at the national, and also when they are trying to get presidential candidates. Do you get state primary, governorship primaries, and what have you? So from experience, those two periods, when you are putting the ESCO, there's always a lot of crisis. People are struggling, pulling it and dragging it and throwing everything into it, including the kitchen sink, to make a point, which basically when you break it down is just looking for interest. And when they are looking for aspirations, tickets, that also produces a lot of conversation. But those things always tend to come and go. The only one that is a little bit difficult now, in this particular time and at this particular season, is the Wike conversation. And why is this so? When he was in PDP, he was a very, very passionate PDP man who put in so much into the party. And now that he's not in the party, he's not fully committed to the party, conversations will happen. Maybe if it had been somebody else, maybe his value will not be so high, let alone the conversation around him be so strong. And then, unfortunately, the crisis in Rivers is also not helping matters. I mean, if you were to discuss it, you could feel that what exactly are the issues. But bottom line is that so long as there's a conversation happening in Rivers, they are mentioning Wike. There's a conversation in Wadata, they are mentioning Wike. There's a conversation all over, they are mentioning Wike. You will get the impression that then that means that Wike is an issue. And if Wike is an issue, the best way to combat it is to say, Mr. You are not a child. You can see that there's a lot of issues around you. Pick a side. Do you want to come back to your beloved party? Drop those people, come back. Do you want to stay with them? Then, be away from here for now. After all, the politicians in Nigeria have not been so disciplined like people like us. And we can to be fair to him.
All right.
Stay in one party and never leave. But for disappointment, what will anybody accuse with them Wike of?
Okay.
They have accused him of not being a legitimate PDP member. Would they have accused him?
Are you sorry? Because I'm trying to understand. I remember asking you a question that would you consider some of the things he's done anti-party, and you seem to say that maybe not. But maybe I should be more specific. Would you consider it as being anti-party, being a member of a political party and taking a top job for an opposition party? Which is the incumbent. Is that anti-party?
That's what I said. That can't be anti-party under our circumstances. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
You see, Governor Wike is such a clever man. He wrote them a letter, sort of informing them and telling them, look, this government of national unity have been invited to come and serve. That was him doing due diligence. And I'm not a spokesperson, I don't speak for him. When they collected that letter, in Rivers State, they gave him approval to go ahead. In his South Zone, they gave him approval to go ahead. From what I hear, at the national level, they acknowledged the letter, but they didn't really say much. So technically, you will say, what else do you expect from him? You didn't give him any condition. He told you he was being invited. You told him he can serve. Are you not going to come around and start blaming him for taking permission to go and serve? That's why I said it's a little bit dicey. And if you say, oh, he's the one interfering with NWC, the question I'll ask them is that how? He was giving them money, show me the receipts, show me where he saw the money. Some of this is we are talking about even border down on money laundering. So to a large extent, before he collected that appointment, from your analysis right now, you are saying that he followed due process within the party. Giving a statement of fact. He wrote his River State, they gave him permission to go. He wrote the zonal chairmanship at that time, they gave him permission, and he wrote to inform the NWC.
Okay.
That I know.
Okay, let's
ask for permission. Then how do you then call it anti-party? You know what I mean?
All right. Let's
slightly supported the thing, and now you don't want to support it anymore. Okay, I accept. You can consider that, but you cannot say at the beginning he did not inform you. And it's not the first time anyway. Ambassador invited the former Attorney General of the country to come and even be Attorney General, the AD man of those days, Bola Ige. And he was Attorney General of this country during the first time of Obasanjo. Unfortunately, he died, or he was, some kind of accident took place, assassination or what have you, but he was killed because he didn't sleep and died. But the fact remains that it has happened before. He was not a PDP man. So if they are following this script and he wrote a letter, I don't know how you want me to call it. If you want to be fair, you have to be fair for real.
Okay, let's move slightly away from what is going on within the PDP and talk about the state of the economy right now. Of course, we have some reports saying that inflation is beginning to simmer down. There are even reports by the MBS saying that unemployment, dropped slightly. I would like your take on how this current administration of the All Progressives Congress is handling the economy, particularly at the micro level. I know you are part of the opposition, but are you impressed? Does it look like we are going somewhere?
Wait. Look, at the beginning of the Bola Tinubu administration, I had a program with Shewa Kimberley, which is MyCon, his podcast. And at that program, I told him, this government is running on a trajectory. That trajectory is a bit of neoliberal opening of the economy, liberalization and all that. I said, to the extent that that is their policy that they campaigned on, that it will succeed. They will succeed in that direction. But I said, I was very concerned that he was in a hurry to, make the country liquid at the expense of the mass of the people without thinking about who's going to carry that burden. Their conversation is that there was a lot of debt. There wasn't much of a room for anything. They were using a lot of money to service debt and all that. So I get why he wanted to pull the country back. But I said, these neoliberal policies you are running, this IMF either supported or enabled policies you are running, this GDP excitability that you are running, as beautiful as it may sound as an economic principle and economic theory, both fiscal and monetary, is not the right one for a country like ours. Because it's as good as saying over the years that this country has been around, since about 1972, 73, you have been systematically devaluing the currency, which invariably means that you have been making the people poorer and poorer. To make the point, let me try and describe. If you have 10 million naira at the beginning of the Buhari administration, we were changing money at 165 or thereabout. And then that 10 million naira will give you a certain figure in dollars. And if that was what you wanted to use for your life, imagine how much devaluation they've done to that same money. That your 10 million naira now is barely able to give you maybe $6,000 or $7,000. That will give you an idea of how bad things are. So technically speaking, for a nation that is import dependent, devaluation as a policy is totally not correct. Nations don't do it like that, and they've done it like that, and of course we are seeing the result. Now, if they say their GDP is improved and all that, I laugh at the way they speak to people that are, mathematically literate. You have to first of all ask yourself, in what currency did they do the denomination? If they did the denomination in naira, it could seem like a quantum of naira is available. But that would only be down to devaluation, really. And if they did it in dollar, the question would then be, what sector of the economy produced that new growth? Because significant loss of capacity to participate in buying, even consumption has hit the Nigerian people. A 200-something million population that can't get money to even participate in just buying food, buying all the things they can buy, a crate of egg and all of the food inflation is taking away all the profits. And the distribution of wealth in the country is so skewed that, yes, okay, you made a lot of money according to your GDP, I don't believe, then all of that money will probably be with you and your friends. Because the vast majority of us are still very desperate, not able to make the kind of money. The little resources we have cannot take us as far. I could buy a grapes of egg for a certain amount, it costs a certain amount. A loaf of bread is now 2,000, and transportation is the way it is. Every aspect of life is impacted. Food inflation is very high. Unemployment is very high. So when you want to play with numbers and you want your statistics to lie to you, you might say, okay, this is what it brought. Should we be happy? Why not? If it makes everybody in the country a bit hopeful. Because sometimes the economic theory you are running or policies you are running also requires an infusion of hope so that people can be willing to spend, and you don't make the economy nervous even more by shrinking it when you start telling people nothing is working, nothing is working.
So just before we go on this break, so that we can get to specifics, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the performance so far?
I've said to someone who has asked you that question that I would rather say that what are those things that I think they're doing well and what are those things I think they're not doing well. Because I think that before we can rate them on 1 to 10, we should give them till the third year. They've just barely done 18 months. So rating them 1 to 10 is a waste of everybody's time. They're just getting a grip. So what I'll say is that I like what they try to do by ensuring that local governments get more money. I like what they're trying to do by ensuring that
I think we'll pick up on that. We'll pick up on that. We'll pick up on that, but I understand that we really need to pay some bills now. When we return, we'll definitely pick up. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. This is still Politics HQ on New Central Television. I still have my guest with me, Mr. Segun Showumi, who's a chieftain within the People's Democratic Party. He joins me virtually. Thank you for staying with me, and thank you for your time. Now, before I let you go, let me bring you to a statement by the former Deputy National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party. We know that there's a lot of talk around 2027 presidential poll, and we are beginning to see, of course, political alignment, permutations, and all of that. Recently, Chief Bode George, addressing a crowd, made reference to the former Vice President of Nigeria, appealing that he should shelf, if at all, any ambition to become president on the platform of the party. Permit me to read part of what he said. He said to Atiku, my advice is you will be 81 years old in 2027, and you would have been contesting for presidency since 1999. This is the time for you to calm down and act like an elder. I appeal to you in the name of Almighty Allah that you serve to take it easy and leave everything for posterity. End of quote. My question to you is this. Should 2027 come and the former vice president should choose to run on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, should that fly? Atiku Abubakar.
You see, the PDP is a very interesting and structured party. We are not like our rivals. Number one, we don't dash people presidential ticket. We don't dash people any ticket. Every ticket of PDP, from the smallest one, councillor, people have to contest for it in the primaries. Governorship say the presidency is not any different. I've insisted that it's too early for PDP to be talking about the presidential election of 2027. Why? Because you need to fix the vehicle that will carry everybody there. Otherwise, what's the point? So I think it's a little bit premature. And in any case, Atiku has not even told anybody in clear terms that he's going to run. I've asked him twice. And on two occasions, I think he's still on reflection. He's not told me anything to that effect. And I didn't ask him one day after the other. There were months in between. Now, but what Chibode George is saying can be extremely annoying and extremely offensive because it's like they are bullying him. The same way I don't want anybody bullying or scapegoating Governor Wike is the same way I would definitely not tolerate anybody bullying or scapegoating Atiku. To contest for an election is a very serious commitment. It is that individual that is allowed by law that will take that decision by themselves. If, Atiku should go and sit down, Atiku should go and write on behalf of who, because of who. Now, if you are saying that, you want to take your presidency to the south, it would be idiotic to think that you can win the presidency from southwest when the serving president is a southwest man. And you cannot in all seriousness to say PDP has an obligation to go south-south when we've been there with Jonathan. So if Bode George is not is not brave enough to say the only place we have not gone is Southeast, then I will say it for him. The only place the PDP can go in the South, based on the same equity that they are screaming, is the Southeast. Unless they are going to say we're going to the Southeast, then we can begin to say, oh, they are speaking. But if they are just trying to bully Atiku so that they can be doing the work of their friends who have been indicating a premature
so you are pitting. So that we can wrap up. So you are saying if at all the People's Democratic Party is permutating and planning ahead, that maybe they should look in the direction of a southeastern candidate for president.
Absolutely, that's the only place where we've never given them a ticket. Actually, I've screened myself out in the party, the APC, the PDP political party. The South is Indigo, market women. They are the ones carrying this party. Alex Ekweme was the one that even thought this idea out of his brain before others joined in.
All right.
And in all of the years I've been here, we've gone to the south of Obasanjo, we've gone to the south Jonathan, we've gone everywhere, but not to the southeast, the southern hemisphere.
All right,
so if anybody wants to say, Chief Judge, my father wants to say, oh, no, we should go south. I first of all will ask him, the political parties have a zoning formula that is unanimous with their rivals? What if South is the place for APC, but not the place for PDP's advantage? Will the political party zone itself out of contest?
All right.
And if you want to say, okay, you insist that it's the South, then you better be insisting that it's Southeast.
All right.
Rather than you say that you want to keep it open in the South and be pretending that there's a Southwestern man that can challenge his Southwestern.
All right. Mr. Segun Shomi, thank you so much for your time on the program. Deeply appreciate. Mr. Segun Shomi is a chieftain within the People's Democratic Party. Once again, thank you for being on Politics HQ. Thank you.